Hello and welcome to this live stream all about Google Classroom and a teacher's guide to getting started. Thanks very much if you're managing to join us live. Really pleased to be able to get some people watching and hopefully share some information about Google Classroom. Hello and welcome. Good to see that you managed to get a brew and get back in time to watch us for today's session. I'm really looking forward to sharing with you a few ideas on how I'm using Google Classroom and a few ideas on just kind of gently getting us started and walking through. So by all means, if you've got any questions as we go along, pop them into the chat and I'll try and answer them as I go along. And if you then have some kind of questions or some thoughts afterwards, then by all means, catch me on Twitter at @MrVosser. I've also got some other YouTube videos which you're welcome to subscribe to and follow. And I'm going to try and get some more out there as well, hopefully in the new year. Gosh, because we're very nearly at Christmas, so hopefully people will have their Christmas presents wrapped and they're ready to go. Okay, I'm going to just start off by sharing my screen then. And what you can see here is our virtual learning platform, Glow, that we use here in Scotland. And I'm very much encouraging people, if they're using G Suite in their school, make sure it's switched on and access the Google services through the Glow Launchpad. Now, there's two key places that we can access this from. There is the Google Classroom tile, which is just here, and there's also the Google Drive. Now, I've added these to my Launchpad, but if you've got them enabled, you'll hopefully be able to find them on your school's Launchpad. My school's Launchpad is Braze High School, so I would just click on it there. Now then, why would I want to access through Glow? Well, Glow authenticates you into the Google services, and there's the Google Glow services, which means you're keeping everything within that Glow ecosystem. Just makes sharing really easy. It also means there's full kind of traceability for anything that goes on in the virtual learning environment, which is so important to keep us safe and also keep the learners safe. So that there is a kind of a little place to start. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to use a Google Classroom demo account that I have. So we'll access that first, and it's set up in exactly the same way. So we'll be able to have a look at all the features that we've got in there. So this is me on the Google homepage, and if I'm just going up to the waffle icon, which is next to my account details, and I can see here I've got my Classroom icon that I can select. So when Classroom loads for the very first time, I just have to confirm that this is the account that I want to use Classroom with. And then it will ask me whether I'm a student or a teacher. Well worth getting people, young people to sign up in class or connecting in for the first time in class. So you can encourage them to definitely select that student box. The teacher box gives you some slightly different options when you join. If you've connected through Glow, it will still ask you this, but it does also know in the background whether you're a student or a teacher. So I'm going to go in today as a teacher. So once Google Classroom's loaded, let me give you a little kind of welcome to quite a clean, quite a simple interface for us to be able to access. In the top left-hand corner here, we've got our main menu, our classes, our calendar. I'll show you how to archive a class when we've finished. So if you've got multiple years and you want to keep using Google Classroom, you can keep this main area here nice and tidy. And we've also got some general settings, and we'll come back to them a little bit later. In the top right-hand corner here, we have the most important button, which is create or join a class. Now, both teachers and learners see this, and I'm going to today create our first class. Learners will likely only have the option to join classes, but we're going to focus first on creating the class. The only required field when you create a class is the class name. So I'm going to just call this demo, and then I'm going to press create. Normally takes about 20 seconds or so for a classroom to create for you. And when it's created, it will load straight into the classroom. So we'll just give that a few moments. Okay, so here we go. We've loaded into Google Classroom. Now, the classroom that we see is exactly the same as the classroom that young people will see, but I guess there's some slightly different options for us as well. So because this is a demo classroom, I've just got a standard blue background in my header up here. I can change this if I don't fancy blue to be my color. I can go in and change the theme. So I could go, say, for something more computer-based, as I'm quite interested in that. Or if I want to create my own background, I can upload a photo here. So that's just to start by personalizing your class. You'll also see when we opened our classroom, we landed on this stream page. So the stream page is like a notice board. It's the place where all the information goes up initially. So my thoughts with the stream page is if you've got announcements, for instance, you're changing classroom for the day, or you want to remind them that homework is due in, then that's absolutely what you'd want to use the stream page for. But we can personalize what that stream page looks like. So I can just share something with my class here. So hello here. Now, the option I have here is to post something straight to that stream, or I can schedule it for later, or I can save it. But I'll just post that up right now. Fantastic. So there you go. I've now got something on my stream if anyone wants to join the class. In terms of joining the class, the best way to get people to join the class is by giving them the class code. So if I click here, I can make the class code bigger. And if I want to make it even bigger, I can stick it up like this. So for instance, if I was displaying it on the board or something in the classroom, all I would do is I would ask the learners to go back to their Glow homepage. And when their Google Classroom homepage, they would click on the plus where I created a class, they would press the join class and they would type in that code. So that's how we're going to get people to join. The other way to get people to join is to copy an invitation link. So I can press that button. And then, for instance, if I have a Microsoft team or I have an email group, I can copy and paste that link into that and then send that out. So then they can follow that link and it will take them straight into Google Classroom and ask them to join the class. So that's a useful tool to have as well. Okay. Let's have a look at the Classwork page. So the Classwork page is where we're going to put all the work that we want a young person to complete. And this is very much for the resources, the assignments, the tasks, any quizzes, any materials that we create. Keep it all in one place. So I'm going to start off by creating an assignment. Okay. So because this is my first time in Google Classroom this account, it's given me lots of hints and tips as we go, which is fine. So I'm just going to call this a test assignment. And I'm not going to put any instructions with it, and I'm not going to add any documents to it. It's going to be one that's unmarked. I'm going to say that it's due on Monday. I'm not going to set a time for now because I don't need to. You can also see I've got an option to give it a topic. So I'm just going to create a topic here, and I'm going to call it topic 1. And I'm just going to assign that like so. So that work has now been assigned, and if I had any learners in the classroom, they'd automatically be able to see that assignment because I posted it straight away. Let's look at that create option again. You can also see here that I can create a quiz assignment. So anyone who's used to using forms, either Microsoft Forms or Google Forms is very similar. You can create a quiz, which you either go in and mark yourself, or you can ask the computer to mark it. So I'm going to call this one my demo quiz. And you can see here a blank quiz is automatically set up for me in Google Forms. I'll just click into that to show you. So I could go in and add in my questions that I want, but I'm not going to do that right now because we're going to talk about Classroom, not Forms. But you can see how nice and easily that links. This will hopefully be able to, because I've got grade importing over here switched on, the points value will automatically update depending on what the quiz has got, so I'll be able to leave that as it is. I will set this as a due date for Tuesday, and I won't give this a topic for now. You can see here next to the assign arrow, I've got the options to be able to schedule and save something for later, so I'm just going to assign it now though, so that's absolutely fine. So at the moment we've got an assignment in this classroom. We've also got a demo quiz. Let's go back to my create option. The third thing which I really like within this Classwork page is the question option. So the question option would allow me to ask children a very quick question and get some responses from them. So what did you think of the lesson today? Hopefully they'd tell me that they thought it was pretty good. But I can choose here whether I give them a short answer or multiple choice. And so if I went for multiple choice, I could have very good or a bit dull, maybe. and then the children can pick a multiple choice response, or I can leave it as a short answer and they can type something in for me. I can decide whether or not I want to give it a points value. I'll have this one as unmarked because I'm just getting a bit of feedback, and I would quite like that done for tomorrow or the day after, because I've just gathering a bit of quick feedback. I can decide whether or not I put it into a particular topic, and I can see whether the class want to see the summary. Now, as this is an evaluation of the lesson, I think I will keep that private to just me, and I can ask that question right away. Oh, actually, I've now decided that I rather wish I had assigned a topic to the question that I just asked there. So I have flexibility to be able to go back in and edit this, and I'm going to add this to topic 1 just like so. So just press save there. Okay, let's go back to our create button, see what else we have got here. We've got the option for materials as well. So let's say, for example, I had a PowerPoint. I could use the add button and upload a file. So if I had a PowerPoint on my computer, I could just upload that. Or if I had a YouTube video or a link to a website that I wanted to highlight, then I can also make that available as well. Alternatively, if something's already saved in my Google Drive, I can access it here. Or if I want to start building a new material, which the learners will be able to view, then I could do that here. So for instance, if I want to make a presentation, I could click slides. The slides will automatically open up for me. And what I'll do is I'll just call this my demo slides. I can close this and I can put this in a demo slides, and I can decide which topic it goes under. I'm going to create a new topic here and call this one topic 2, and I'm going to post that straight away, but I could schedule it for later or save it as a draft if I wanted to. Now at the moment I've got topic 2 above topic 1. I can just drag and drop my topics to rearrange them on the Classwork page, which is really handy if you want to keep the topic that you're currently working on near the top of the page for people to be able to find. And I can also drag around the work as well within a particular topic, so it doesn't have to be in the order that has been created. Talking of creation, I also have the option to reuse a post. So that's really useful if I've got another classroom and I want to reuse an assignment, a quiz assignment, question or material. And it will give me the option about whether I pull across the materials in terms of creating copies of the materials, or if I want to just use the material that I've created again. So you can either have a copy or you can just use the original. With the topics, there's times when I've created topics and I've given the topics the learner's name. And the reason that I've given it the learner's name is the work that I have assigned within the topics. Let's drop this quiz into here. If I go into the edit option, if I had students in the class, I could just assign it to one student, and students would only see topics if they have work that is assigned to them in that topic. So if you want just one learner to see one item, then you can do that, and you can give them their own space, their own materials, which works quite nicely. If you're wanting to give someone, say, some differentiated materials, you can give them a little section of their own, and only they'll be able to see it if all the items within that topic are only assigned to them. So we've got a little question here. How is the compatibility between Google Slides and PowerPoint? Well, if I quickly just show you into Google Drive, and I've just gone to drive.google.com to access this. If I go up to my settings here, and I have in the option here to be able to convert upload. So I normally tick this box. So anything that I upload, which is a PowerPoint, that will automatically convert it to Google Slides. Now, Google Slides and PowerPoint use very similar placeholders, so they normally format really well. The only place it sometimes falls down is if you're going from something that's, say, a 4:3 ratio and it's then changing to 16:9 or 16:10. Sometimes you need to do a little bit of kind of dragging around, a bit of formatting. Or if you've got a PowerPoint presentation that has got lots of complex transitions on it. Not all the transitions marry up. And sometimes if you've got lots and lots of text on a page, sometimes it will format it slightly differently. And I sometimes see it just fall off the bottom of a Google slide. So I think if you're wanting to share documents which the young people can then go on to edit, I would suggest you definitely want to convert things to the Google Docs editor format, so slides or sheets from Excel or PowerPoint. But if you just upload a PowerPoint and you want them just to view that PowerPoint and not make any changes to it, then that's absolutely fine. I've experienced no issues at all with the inbuilt PowerPoint viewer in Google Classroom. So yeah, absolutely, you can upload a PowerPoint and it will work fine. If you upload a PowerPoint and you convert it to Google Slides, you'll probably just want to check it through. But I would say 9 out of 10 times it's going to be absolutely fine, bar maybe a couple of formatting tweaks that are needed. Okay, so going back in to the classroom here, I said about, say, assigning a PowerPoint or a piece of work for learners to be able to change. Let's go into that assignment option again. Okay, so I'm going to look here at demo number 2. So right here, if I then go and add an item from my Google Drive, I have created this demo slides already. So I'm going to insert that. So if I'm using a Google Doc, so that's equivalent to the word processor, Microsoft Word, or Google Slides, or Google Sheets, or Google Drawings, I get 3 options here. If I just put up a PDF or I put up a Microsoft document, I might see 1 or 2 options depending on what the permissions are on that file. So students can view the file. That's great if we just want people to go in and look at it. Students can edit the file. That's brilliant if we want everyone to go in and make changes to the same file. Now, I think there's lots of fun to be had with having a class of 15, 20, 30 young people all working on the same document. But that collaboration with that number of people just needs a little bit of thought beforehand, just to make sure that people understand the kind of rules of engagement, that they're going to behave and do things nicely. So if you want everyone to have their own copy, then use a make a copy for each student. This does 2 things which work really nicely. It gives the file name and their name on the file name as well, which means if you know the student's name in Google Drive, you can type in their name, and then you can see all the files that they've ever had assigned to them that you're in the classes of in Google Classroom. So that's a nice way. If I want to pull up everyone's work at one time, I quite often do that in Google Drive. So I'll just get that assigned there now. Okay, so it's just loaded, so that's good. So in terms of the Classwork page, I can also create topics, and I don't have to add anything to the topic straight away. So I could set my topics up for the year and then just drag them and leave them down the bottom. And students can only see topics when I've published the post. So there's no harm with kind of getting stuff up and doing planning in that way. Everything that I create and everything that the learners create through Google Classroom is stored in the Classroom Drive folder. So if you ever can't find something, go into the Classroom folder, and even if they've unattached it from their work, if it's been created or worked on, it will be within the folder of the Classroom. So you can also find that Classroom folder by going to My Drive, Classroom, and then the name of the classroom, which in this case is called Demo. So all the work is saved there, even if they remove it from the assignment that they should have attached it to. You've also got the Google Calendar link as well. Calendar is really useful. It's shown me here that I have got the question, what did I think of today's learning, due, and I can then pop on to next week as well. And I can see here I've got a couple of assignments due as well. So the calendar is really useful, especially if they've got it attached to their mobile phone or an iPad or something, then it will appear on the calendar of that device as well, providing they've turned on the syncing. So that's a really useful way of managing work. Okay, I'm going to leave the Classwork page for a little bit. I know we've seen the Meet link kind of popping around in a couple of places. We'll certainly come back to that. Okay, so in the People tab here, I've got the option to manage my teachers. So I can invite another teacher to the classroom, for example. So I'll just invite another account that I have here. So I'll be able to do that there. And then you see I've got an invitation sat right there as well, which is really useful. I've also got the option to be able to add students to my classroom as well, and I can do that in exactly the same way. And I can either send them this classroom link directly. So that classroom link can be very useful. And they just copy and paste that into the browser bar, and then it will give them the option to be able to join the classroom and go straight in that way. So what I'm going to try and do is connect in to that classroom. If I can just give myself an account that will allow me to join in. Just trying that link now. Okay. I'm hopeful. If I refresh this page now, I've got an account. Fantastic. So we can see here I've joined with one of my other accounts, and it has me in as a student. So now if I go to the Classwork page, I can go into editing any of my options, and you can see here, even though I joined the class late, everything is automatically assigned to me straight away. And if I just wanted it just assigned to me, I can do that option there. Obviously, there's only one person in the class at the moment, so it's selecting everyone. In the people page, if I click on my name, it takes me into my learner profile, and I can see here I've got 4 pieces of work that have been assigned. But I'm hopeful if I just click on my other screen where I've got that open, I've handed in a piece of work. So if I now refresh that page, the work has moved from being assigned to handed in. And I can also filter down. If the due date has passed and I haven't done it, then the work will be shown as missing. And as a teacher, once I've marked it, I'll be able to make that appear as returned. So I will just go in here and view the details of the work. And I think that's a great piece of work. So I'm going to give myself 100 out of 100. I'm going to return that, and I'm just going to put there, well done, returned, it's like so. You can now see here the mark is identified as marked, and it will hopefully show that on the people page as well. If I click into the student, give me my mark of 100 out of 100. Okay. So that learner profile is really good. If I'm having learning conversations, I will click on the individual's names from the people page, and I will take them through all the work that they have outstanding, or if I want to pull up a piece of their work that I particularly like, it's a really nice, easy way for me to be able to access that. If I click onto the more options, I have the option to be able to email the teacher now in Glow. The email functionality doesn't work because we use Office 365 and Outlook for email, but if you're using Google Classroom outside of Glow, then that will work. And I also have the option to be able to remove the teacher. If that teacher account had accepted the invitation, I would also have the option to be able to pass ownership of the classroom, so they could be the owner of the class. If, for instance, I set it up for them and then I wanted someone else to teach the class, or if we had a teacher change, for example, then you can manage that through that more options there. Looking at the student options here, if I click on the 3 dots here, I have the ability to be able to email this student. Now, within some setups, you might also be able to add a parental email address to be able to create Google Guardian emails. And I've got another video about Guardian email on the YouTube channel. So if you're interested in Guardian email, then go and check that out. If I select the students here, I also get some options as well. I can bulk remove students, or I can mute them. So in the stream here, as a student, I have the option to be able to post on the stream. And within the Classwork page, I also have the option to be able to go in and write comments on pieces of work that have been assigned. If I don't want students to be able to do that, I can mute individual students, or I can mute all students using that option there. The mute option isn't something I need to use very often, but occasionally sometimes people can be a bit silly, and just needing to mute them for a couple of lessons can help get them back in check. Okay, let's have a look at the marks page. The marks page is where we can see overall marking system and people's individual progress as well as a class average. If a piece of work is unmarked but it is submitted, then you can get a tick next to it, which is really useful to be able to see how much work has or hasn't been done. So I'm going to just hand in a couple more pieces of work that are assigned to this account, so we can see what that looks like. So the test assignment here, I've just marked that as done. So if I refresh this page, you can see here it's handed in, and I can go in and I can return that as marked, or I can view it. So if, for instance, you've just put something up and then they're collecting it in by paper, then you can mark it on paper and do it that way if you wish, or you can do it digitally. So I'm viewing this submission, but I know it's blank because I haven't done anything, but I can still return it as done. If, for instance, I know they've done it on paper instead, and if I refresh this page, you'll see here, oh, it had updated, I was being impatient. You can see the handed in turned to a tick. Okay, I'm now going to have a little look at some of the settings behind Google Classroom. So when I first set up the class, I had all those class detail options. I can go in and change or amend those if required. I can manage how I invite people to my classroom within the top of this general section. So if I want an invitation link to be able to work, I can reset the links or turn the links off if I want to. It's entirely up to you in terms of how you manage inviting people to your classroom. I can personalize the stream. So the stream was that first page that we landed on. And we can decide whether we want students to be able to post and comment, whether they can only comment on my posts, or make it so only teachers can post or comment. It's entirely up to you, and it depends on how you're going to use your space. And it's going to depend on the type of learner that you have working with you as well. On the Classwork page, we can change how we view it. So we can hide notifications in terms of not having Classwork lists on the stream. We can have a condensed view, so they can see they've got something assigned on the Classwork page, or something's been put up like a new material, but they need to click in for more information. Or you can show them the full details of the classwork. So if you're assigning lots of classwork and you're giving people lots of announcements and notifications in the stream, you probably want to hide your classwork notifications because the young people will just know to look there. But if you're not posting lots of things, then you might want everything visible on the stream, so everything's nice and easy to find all in one place. That's an option that you have there. You can decide whether the other teachers can view the deleted items or not. And we can also see down here that we've got some Meet settings. I'll come back to the Meet in just a minute. Thinking about the marking side of things, I showed you that we had a marks page. If you're collecting all your marks over a full year, you can go into the marking calculation area, and you can set up how to calculate overall marks and whether particular categories are weighted to a particular amount of points. This is something that I will go into in another video in terms of giving you details on how it works, but it's incredibly powerful if you've got a lot of work that you want to be able to place additional credit for some things over other things. So very good maths that works behind this, keeps it super simple. So if you invest completely into this marking section, then I think that can work really well. Okay, let's talk about Google Meet then. So if I want students to be able to access a Google Meet to be able to have a live video lesson with me, then I'm going to need a Meet link. So I can generate the Meet link like so, and I can decide whether or not that Meet link is visible to students. Now, the Meet link will only work when you have a teacher in the classroom, in that virtual classroom, and that virtual Meet. So there is no problem with leaving it visible all the time. But if it's visible all the time, students might decide to copy it and share it with students who aren't in the class. And if they have that link, then they will be able to access the classroom when you're teaching a class. So you may just want to turn it on and off in terms of its visibility when you are delivering, but it's entirely up to you. You have the ability to be able to copy it. For instance, if you've got younger learners and you want to be able to send that home to parents as well, who may be supporting their children into connecting to a Meet. Or if you need to be able to reset the code because it's being misused, the reset option is here. Once you've made your changes in your settings, just press save in the top right-hand corner. Just takes a few seconds to save. Okay, so you can now see here on my stream, it's looking a bit different because I've reformatted it. I've got myself the Meet link now visible, and that will be visible for learners as well. I've got information about what's up and coming, so we've got a couple of things that we know are going to be due for the learners. And we've also got a summary here of all the classwork page because I've changed how the classwork is presented on the stream. And I can see here I've got the work that's been returned here, a couple of pieces of work that are assigned for the individual, but they haven't been handed in or done. So it gives you a really nice overview of where you're at. Okay, in the main menu, I said we had a archive classes and settings option. I will just show you though the to review section before we look at those. So the to review section is useful in terms of providing you an overview of what you have to mark or have been marked. So you can filter this by class. So I've only got one class at the moment, so I don't need to filter it. I've got one item which I didn't assign a due date to, and I can see that I've already got that marked. And I've got some work in progress here, and this is items which do have due dates. And you can see here I've got a couple that are assigned, and I'm waiting for the work to come in, and I've got one that's returned. What's useful is I can click on any of these numbers, and it will take me straight into the Google Classroom assignment or the quiz or the question into the marking page, so I can go in and make changes, update things, add scores, do marking, check the work that's been returned. All those options are straight there. So I can see here I've got nothing handed in and nothing assigned. The item that I did have is marked and returned. So I'm going to mark that as reviewed because I know that that's done and that's off my agenda now. And I can see here I can mark that as reviewed as well. So I've now got no items in my review section, and in my work in progress section, I've still got a couple of items, and I'm just waiting for some work to come in there. So this is quite a useful place, and I'm using this more and more and more to help me manage my workload and see what I've got outstanding, especially if I've had children out of the classroom and then coming back in. It's really helping me keep on top of the workflow. The things I've marked as reviewed can be found in the reviewed section. So I've got one of each, and I've got the ability to mark as not reviewed if I want to put it back onto the to review section for whatever reason. So that's a really useful feature that I like. Okay, going down into the settings section. If I want to change my account profile settings, I could do that up here. Not all settings can necessarily be changed. So for example, your name, you'll need to contact your administrator or change it through Glow. But things like the profile picture can be updated. Looking down, you'll see we've got really real granular control over notifications in terms of whether you get emails or not, comments, classes that you teach, and you can also turn off particular classrooms as well. So if you set up some test classrooms for, say, working with some colleagues, you might decide to turn the notifications off for that because you probably don't want notifications for testing, but you certainly would want notifications for the classes that you teach. Okay, going into my back to my classes page, you can see here I've got an option to copy my class. So I'm just going to show you how that works. So copying the class is really useful if I want to think about reusing or tweaking some of the items and I just want to create myself a space to be able to work on. Or if I've started using Google Classroom as a pilot with one or two classes and then I decide that I want to roll it out with other classes, I can copy the class and then use that because it takes a copy of everything that's in it. The questions and the assignments and all of those bits of information. It takes a couple of minutes to copy. All of those bits are lined up as drafts ready for me to use when I want to. So I don't have to use everything and learners will only see the items as and when they're ready. So while that's copying, you can also see here I've got a copy invitation link as well. So by doing that, I've now got a link that I can put in an email to one of my colleagues, and they can grab a copy of all my resources that I've used in a class if they want to. So that's really useful. This is the new class that I've created, different class code, and all the classwork is just down here. I'm sorry, I misexplained myself there. So if I just go back and say, on this classes page here, this copy invitation link is the invitation link for children to be able to join the class. If I copy a class and I want to share my resources with another teacher, I would then need to go into that class, add them as a teacher, and then I would transfer the ownership to them just here. Sorry, I wasn't very clear. Okay, so I've now got two classes. I'm going to use the copy of this one here, so I'm going to edit that and say my new class, because I'm going to start working with that for my new session, and I've got all my bits in my drafts ready to go as and when I want them, and I've finished with this class here, so I'm just going to archive it. So when you archive a class, you can't modify anything, and students can't change anything either, but you've still accessed all the files in Google Drive, and you have the ability in archive classes to be able to go in and see the work that you created. You can also go in and look at the marks and the individual students as well. So even though it's archived, you've still got full access. You just can't post anything new. If you want to unarchive it, it gives you the option down in the bottom left-hand corner to be able to restore it. So then you can continue using it if, for example, you archived it by mistake. Okay. Well, if anyone's got any questions, please do pop them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm hopeful this has been a really interesting introduction, nice slow start, steady walk through how to use the different aspects of the Google Classroom. We've absolutely covered a lot in terms of looking across all 4 of the main pages, as well as diving into the settings as well. So I'm really pleased that we've had a look at the stream and how we can make announcements and share information with our class. I've looked at how we can manage our classwork and how that links into Google Drive really nicely. We've had a look at the People tab and how we can go in and pass ownership from one teacher to another, or manage our students, or invite guardians to be able to allow them to get guardian emails. And then we've looked at the marks page as well, in terms of where we can store their grades and get an overview of how they're progressing, as well as looking at all the settings as well. Thanks very much for tuning in. It's been really appreciated. I've got a few more videos coming up between now and Christmas in terms about Jamboard, giving feedback to learners, and also looking at Google Drawings as well, which are all tools that I'm regularly using as part of my classroom practice to engage learners. But thanks very much for joining me on a Wednesday evening, and I'm going to go and do a bit of hydration. Thanks very much. Okay now, goodbye.